So, guys, let's start. So, we were discussing about in the last lecture developing and acquiring information system, and we discuss about the business case, what is business case, and how to develop the business case. What are the productivity paradox? Okay, what are the different how to identify how to create the successful business case. In that we discussed the identifying the cost benefits, cost benefit analysis, weighted multi criteria analysis, presenting the business case. Then we discuss how the systems can be developed for an organization. There are different options. We discussed the software life cycle, the different phases like system planning and selection, system analysis, system design, and system implementation and operation. So we will continue from here, right?
Yes, yes.
So system conversion is a term used here in the phase 4, which is implementation. The implementation is that once your system is completely created and operated, so you need to replace the existing system. So system conversion is the process of decommissioning the current way of doing things, either automated or manual, and installing the new system in the organization. System conversion can be performed in at least 4 ways. You have to replace your existing system. So different companies use a different strategy depending on different constraint as well. You have a big company, small company, how bigger the system is, what is the environment in your system. So the first one is parallel, like you can replace both system, the old and new, in parallel way. Second one is the direct. You can directly install new system, and you just. I think this approach is discontinued on one day, and the new used in the next day. So sometimes it is very tricky and difficult, and it is not a wise decision, especially for the big organization. You cannot replace the system overnight. But yes, it is an option, and many organizations can use this depending on the size of the organization. The third option is phased. I mean, in phases you can replace. In, for example, in 1 month you can replace only the human resource activities. Maybe next month you can replace the advertising activities with the new system. So in phases you can replace the whole system, slow and steady. And the pilot single location is that the entire system used in one location. So these are the different options here, depending on the organization, their infrastructure, their requirements, needs. So there are many constraints there. So whenever you are going to implement a new system, but the option B, which is a direct, is not always it is recommended for the bigger organization. Obviously, they need to see a lot of things when they are replacing the system. Anyhow, actually, we are discussing the life cycle of the system of development. So I repeat again, what are the steps? These are very important. You guys need to know the system planning and selection, system analysis, and in system analysis, there are different activities in system design and system implementation and operation. So in this, the testing is all also included, maintenance and testing. And then the system conversion and is also the part of system implementation. Okay, so now we discussed the life cycle of software development or system development. So these are the 4 phases we have discussed. These are the generic phases, and usually you can find in all models. When I'm saying model, so it means there are different models of life cycle. For example, we have waterfall model, the traditional model. We have spiral model. We have incremental model. We have V model. We have agile modeling. So there are many models available, and you will choose one model for development of your software or information system. But the phases we discussed, they will be the part of these different models. So one of these model is prototyping. So prototyping model, you will use this approach to design and build your information system or software. So now what this model is an iterative approach that uses trial and error to discover how systems should operate. Trial and error, you will create something and then you will test it is working or not. If it is working, fine. You will create another functionality. You will create another functionality and so on. And in the end, you can create your system. For example, you are doing a project. If I ask you as a supervisor, okay, please show me the prototype. So you will create the same functionality, but not in the original form, just for the testing purpose. You will create and you will show me, and we will discuss, and I will tell you, okay, no, add this, add this, add this. So these things will be done repetitively. So in the end, you will come up with the final idea and you will create your final product. So operational prototype, functioning prototype, access real data files, edit inputs, make necessary computations, and comparison and procedure and real output. So you will take the main functionalities that is actually required in the project, and that is called the operational prototype. The non-operational prototype, a mock-up model. I mean, you will use some simulation. You can create some modeling, the virtual environment that looks like the real kind of thing. So you will use many tools like Azure, one tool. We have uh, for prototyping, I forget the name. There are many tools available for where you can uh, design your system and it feel and looks like a real system, but it is actually a prototype. Are you guys getting the idea of prototype? Yes. So it works even when desired input isn't known. If there is a basis for determining when one prototype is better than other. So you have 2 types of prototypes, operational and non-operational. Operational prototype that you will use the real functionality, the real data, and you will create a system and you will test it, trial it. Non-operational prototype, means you will use some tools and you will draw a sketch of your whole system. It looks like, feel and looks like a real system, but it is actually not a real system. So there are two approaches usually we can use in this. Now, what are the steps for this model? So far, we discussed the prototype. What is prototyping? Now, what are the steps for designing a system? So you can analyze the 4 steps that we discussed. They are somehow, somewhere in this model as well. The first step is collect requirement. For example, you are going to make one application, web-based application, a mobile application. So you will collect the requirement first, then you develop a prototype, the interface, maybe, for example, let's say the interface of mobile application. So you will develop here, then you will review it with the user, with your customer who wants this application. You will use it, check, test it. You will find some problem. Does user accept prototype? If user says no, you will go back again and you will update your requirements. If user says yes, okay, I need this type of interface, then you will implement that, the real implementation of that interface here, and so on. This is a repetitive process. You will discuss with the customer many times, as you can see the loop here. So slow and steady, you will add more functionalities, discuss with the user, and you will, after the acceptance, the real system will be implemented.
Doctor,
Yes.
before prototype, how they operate the system?
Before prototype, how they operate a system? I didn't get you. You're talking about the this prototyping is a model, is an approach that you are going to use for development of your software. Okay. So you will create your system by following this model. Okay. You can see the last step here is implement and use systems. It means your functionality is created here, and you have implement that functionality in real, and you can use it. Okay. So in this approach, slow and steady, the system will build. Maybe first interface, then the backend, then maybe the database, but the user will be there. Every time you discuss with the user says, okay, yes, it is fine, then you can add up in your system. And this is how your system will grow. Is that clear?
Uh, like yes. Something, doctor, you adding to the system, something new.
I mean, the requirements, you are creating a one system and you need many requirements. But in this approach, you will build your system from the beginning. You will build and you will test it with customer. You will build, you will test with the customer every time.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Another approach is RAD and JAD, rapid application development and joint application development. This is another approach. So what is rapid? As it says that you will develop your information system or a software rapidly. So there are many tools, techniques, and methodologies that designed to speed application. So you want, the quick development, fast development. Makes extensive use of joint application development. JED often uses GSS software. Now it's joint application. Joint application means, it means there are kind of a group, and specialized people are working together to speed up the things. They work in groups. Okay, that's why it's called JAD, the Joint Application Development. So it is best suited for DSS, MIS, and less well suited for transaction processing. Because in transaction processing system, you need a time, the money is involved, it's a critical system, so you cannot do this with the JAD approach or the RAD approach. You need a time for that. So joint application design in a group meeting, you can see this, there are different things are involved. It is a room, it is a JAD room, joint application development room. You can see there is a whiteboard, charts, uh, printers, magnetic board, scanner. I mean, just like a meeting room, the advanced meeting room. You have the room is equipped with everything. The cameras there, everything is there, computers are there. So uh, the team will jointly do the work, and this will increase the efficiency. In less time, you can complete your tasks. Is that okay, guys?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. So next we have, so far we discussed the business case. You will create your business case, a successful business case. You will present your business case, and then you will select, you will develop your information system. How to develop the information system. So we discussed this. There are different phases, different models like prototyping. We have waterfall model. We have JAD and RAD. We discussed, and now the acquiring information system. That how organization acquires system via external acquisition and outsourcing. So how you can acquire from external outside the organization. So why we need external acquisition? Why we need to purchase from outside? There are different situations like limited IS staff. So you do not have information system staff. IS staff has limited skill set. So your employees do not have skills. Your staff is overworked. A lot of they are busy in other stuffs. Problems with performance of IS staff. IS staff is not performing. So these are the situations that force you to go for external acquisition of information system. When this is the case, there are two options. External of acquisition of prepackaged, you just go outside and pay money and get the software, or outsourcing system development, or you can outsource your information system to other companies. So that company will create this information system, will install the information system, and their employees will manage the maintenance and everything. So an external acquisition, the system planning and selection, the same, the steps is required to do any project actually. Some of them we have been discussing this for many chapters. So first you need a planning and selection from where you are going to acquire. You need to select your vendor from Microsoft, from Google, from Amazon, from where you want. Then you will do the system analysis. What is the actual requirement and what are the alternative solutions? Development of requests for proposal. You have to request a proposal. You have to create a proposal, and this proposal is a technical document, and there are many chapters are involved in this. So you have to provide all details about your requirement, what is exactly required in this. and you will present this uh, uh, to the top management. Top management will evaluate this and will look at this, and they will send to the company from where you want to purchase the software. And that company will evaluate the proposal, will see the requirements, and then it will, send you the response about there. So once your proposal evaluation done by the top management, then the vendor will be selected, uh, and then you can contact them and you can purchase your software. In our college, for example, we need a furniture, the table and chairs for all teachers, for all students. So, what is the procedure to purchase this? Any idea, guys? If you want to purchase anything in our college, so what is the procedure? So these are the steps must be there. How many chairs do you need? From where you can buy these? You will create a request. Okay, we have three vendors, three manufacturers, and maybe the university has the official vendors in contract. So every time all colleges will buy from the same uh, vendor. Then you will develop a request proposal that we have 50 rooms, we have 1,000 students, so we need 2,000 chairs, and this is the cost per chair. Total cost is this. Why we need this? So everything will be written in the proposal, and you will send this proposal to the vice deanship or to the president office. They will look at this. Okay, fine, we have this budget, and these requirements are actually required, and then they will approve your proposal, and they will select the vendor. Maybe three, four options you have, and there will be a bidding, and maybe you will give to one vendor the project, and you will give the money, and they will provide you whatever that you require. Is that clear, guys? Any question?
Doctor, external acquisition, they process from outside the company.
Yes. You need a software, so you decided to contact other company.
Okay.
Okay. You need anything, you are required to request with other company, not your own company. External acquisition, outside.
What the difference, Doctor, between this and out?
Outsource.
Yes.
So there are some softwares which are available in the market. Okay, you will go, you will pay money, and you can get it. Okay, and you can use it. But outsourcing, when you're doing the outsourcing, it means the other company is responsible for that. The employees, maintenance, everything will be done with by them. Just like you have the office boys, cleaning boys. They are not the university employees. Even many teachers, they are not university employees. They are the employees of some company.
Okay.
Okay, that is outsourcing.
Okay.
They will manage everything. You are just paying money, and they will manage. But in external acquisition, directly, you can purchase it, but later on you can work on that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now we are on the step 3 here. So, what is the procedure? What is the procedure? So, 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 what is the So first two steps are same, the planning, selection, and analysis. Now the third most important step is proposal. Like in graduation project, in final year graduation project, in first semester you will do the proposal only. Introduction, background study, uh, your planning, budget, risk, the team, who will work on that, how much money do we need, how much time will it take, then the requirements, actually requirements, and then you will design your system and implementation. So everything is written in one document, and that is called the proposal document. So whatever you need, we need a PeopleSoft in our college. So we need a proposal for that. Why we need this, why we are doing this, a business case. So a detailed proposal will be written, is documented, used to tell vendors that what is your requirements and to invite them to provide information about and how they could meet those requirements. Now e-services, ERP, we want to make for our university. So it's a big system, so we need a complete document for that, which is called the proposal document. And once the proposal document approved by the university, we can present this to the vendor, the manufacturers, that we require these kind of functionalities. It is not a small software, it is a big software. So you need to present the case in front of the vendors as well. That we need this, and you are the customer right now. So what are the areas should be covered in that proposal? A summary of existing system and applications. What is the current situation? Requirements for system performance and features, reliability, backup, and service requirements, criteria that will be used to evaluate proposals, timetable, budget. As I told you, the introduction, the background study, the existing systems, the features, objectives, goals of your system. What is your requirement actually? The testing requirements, the availability requirements. So there are different types of requirements that is required, and you will include everything what is required for the information system, and you will present this to the vendors. So in step 3, we will develop this proposal, and these things should be included in that proposal. The step 4 is evaluation. So evaluation may include uh, the reviewer, or maybe the top management, or maybe the vendors also will review this proposal. So in review or evaluation, they will see the functionality, how the system functionalities are presented or written, what would be the system performance, how the system will looks like, and you will judge many criteria in that. So once you evaluate your proposal, that it is okay, it is done, it is a good proposal, and we can go for purchasing the ERP system for our organization. So president will approve that proposal, and after approval, they will select from where and from which vendor we are going to request, and they will create our system. So typically multiple feasible solutions available, prioritized. For example, we want furniture or we want computer for the all labs of the university or for the computer college. So we must have the list of approved vendors and manufacturers. In government, there's always everything you need approval. You need signature of, you need evidence. You cannot buy anything. You must follow the procedures. So you must have these solutions available, prioritized. Rank competing proposal, you can use the weighted score, and once doing all these things, then you will choose one manufacturer or vendor for your system. So these are the 5 steps that were involved in acquisition of the external um, manufacturer. Any question, guys? Do you have? These are the generic step, I guess. It's just like you want to purchase a new car for yourself. So from which company you are going to purchase? So you must have different options there, and you will compare, you will prioritize, you will rank it, and there are many factors involved, and then you will select one. So same applies for the organization, and especially the government organizations. They have a very strong and strict rules and procedures for purchasing anything. Any question, guys?
Doctor,
Yes.
you will take, you select 5 vendors.
Yes.
Take one of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So how you will select one of them? It depends on different things. Maybe some companies are very expensive. Some vendors are very good in quality. The quality is very good, and some are very cheap, but quality is not good. So it depends on requirement. What exactly you want? If you want quality, you can go for that. If you want the cheap, you can compromise on quality. You can select based on that. But usually in government sector, they have approved list of vendors. So you can purchase from any one of them, but it must be an approved list. And these vendors have contract maybe with the government organizations or even in the private organizations. Is that clear, guys?
Yes, Doctor. Okay.
And the next is outsourced system development is a way to acquire new system that closely resembles the process of in-house development. It is same like that you develop this project in your organization, but actually it is completely outsourced. Its management, its creation, its development, its maintenance is done by the other company. Other company is responsible for that, everything. Okay, so in the end we have end user system development. Primary effort is undertaken by combination of business manager and users. So you want to develop a system for the end user, and both managers and users are involved in that system. They will give the real requirements, the user of the system and the managers of the systems. Sometimes it has disadvantage as maybe user don't have the training to effectively develop and test a system. If you are involving user a lot, user is not a technical person. So he will give you everything that is required, that is not required. And sometimes you face a lot of trouble with that in development of such systems where the end user and the customer is involved in that. Is that clear, guys?
Clear.
So this is the end of the chapter, developing and acquiring information system. So what we discuss in this chapter, the summary is making the business case, system development, and acquiring a information system. So there are different steps involved in each phase, and they are very detailed, and the important stuff for the organization. Because if you are unable to recognize your requirement for in context with the acquiring information system, and you acquired a wrong system, so that's gonna be a problem because a huge money is involved in all these activities. So analysis, planning, requirements, understanding is very important in all this stuff.